Everyone loves a nice cold glass of milk with their warm, freshly baked chocolate chip cookie, but sometimes that glass of milk doesn't quite sit right in your stomach. Between 15 and 20% of Caucasians and an even higher percentage of individuals of African or Far Eastern descent suffer from lactose intolerance, which is a common digestive disease which causes an inability to fully digest lactose, a sugar found in milk and dairy products. Also known as lactase deficiency, lactose intolerance is caused by a deficiency in the enzyme lactase, which is produced by cells lining the small intestine. Not all people with lactase deficiency experience digestive symptoms, but those who do are considered to be lactose intolerant. Luckily, individuals can avoid the symptoms of lactose intolerance by simply choosing a diet carefully that limits dairy products, or by taking a lactate pill that boosts low lactase levels before the person consumes dairy. The people that are commonly most prone to lactose intolerance are adults and premature infants. Premature infants are likely to have lactose intolerance because their lactase levels do not increase until the third trimester of pregnancy. Lactose is a large sugar molecule that is made up of two smaller sugar molecules called galactose and glucose. Lactase is the enzyme that breaks apart the large lactose molecule into the two smaller molecules in order for them to be absorbed from the intestine and into the bloodstream. Lactase is located on the surface of the cells lining the small intestine, and a deficiency in this enzyme could occur for one of three reasons. In recent studies, researchers have identified a rare possible genetic link to primary lactase deficiency, meaning that some people inherit a gene from their parents, which makes them likely to develop the digestive disease. Congenital causes of lactose intolerance occur due to an absence of lactase at birth, caused by disabling mutations in the lactase gene itself, or by its complete deletion. Secondary causes of lactase deficiency include gastrointestinal diseases that destroy the lining of the small intestine, including the enzyme lactase. An example of such a disease is celiac sprue. The most common cause of lactase deficiency develops over time and begins after about the age of 2, when the body begins to produce less lactase. It is common for children with lactose intolerance to start to experience symptoms during their adolescence or adulthood. The decrease in lactase is genetically programmed and caused by the regulatory genetic mutation T13910C5' before the lactase gene LCT T13910C in the gene that is responsible for producing lactase. Typically, individuals suffering from the symptoms of lactose intolerance may experience discomfort for 30 minutes to 2 hours after consuming dairy products. Symptoms range depending on how much dairy products the individual consumed and the amount that the person can tolerate. Common symptoms include abdominal pain, abdominal bloating, gas, diarrhea, and nausea. Symptoms occur because the unabsorbed lactose passes through the small intestine and into the colon, where a certain bacterium containing lactase splits the lactose and uses the resulting glucose and galactose for its own purposes. Unfortunately, when this bacteria uses the galactose and glucose, they release hydrogen gas, which causes increased flatulence and indigestion. There are multiple ways of determining if an individual is, indeed, lactose intolerant. The first is a lactose tolerance test. This type of test is able to gauge the body's reaction to a liquid containing high levels of lactose. 2 hours after consuming the liquid, the individual will undergo blood tests to measure the amount of glucose in the bloodstream. If the glucose levels haven't increased, it means the individual's body is not digesting the lactose properly. The second type of test includes a hydrogen breath test. The patient is required to drink a liquid containing high levels of lactose, and then the doctor will measure the amount of hydrogen in the person's breath at regular intervals. Typically, little hydrogen is detectable, but if the amount of hydrogen is high, it is evident that the lactose wasn't digested and fermented in the colon, causing hydrogen and other gases to be released. Finally, the last test for lactose intolerance is called a stool acidity test. Since undigested lactose ferments in the colon, lactic acid can be detected in a stool sample. This method of diagnosis is preferable for children and infants who can't tolerate high levels of lactose in their systems, which is required for the other tests. There are no treatments that can completely cure lactose intolerance. However, simple diet changes may reduce an individual's symptoms dramatically. A few examples of foods to avoid are yogurt, milk, cheese, and ice cream. It is also important that individuals with lactose intolerance are aware of other processed products that might contain small amounts of lactose for preservation purposes, including bread and other baked goods, waffles, pancakes, breakfast cereals, margarine, salad dressings, and protein powder in bars. Also, lactose-free and lactose-reduced milk and milk products are available at most supermarkets and are identical to regular milk except that the lactase enzyme has been added. Soy products are also common as a nutritional supplement to provide lactose-intolerant individuals with nutrients that dairy products cannot provide for them. It is common that some people may continue to experience symptoms even though dietary changes have been made, and in these cases, over-the-counter lactase enzyme drops or tablets such as Lactaid Fast Act, chewable tablet, or vanilla twist may be taken to reduce uncomfortable symptoms. In general, lactose intolerance is not serious. Anyone suffering from uncomfortable symptoms should feel better in no time if they eat less food with lactose or if they use products that help them digest lactose.